Hey, welcome back to Play and Trade Guitars. I'm John, that's Zach behind the camera, and this is Play and Trade Guitars, where of course we play it and trade it. Check it out, one of the best looking classic vibe Telecasters from Squier. This is the 60s Custom Telecaster, double bound body, looks fantastic. It actually has a big brother or cousin, the Baritone Classic Telecaster too, which we'll have to review. But today, let's check out this classic Custom Telecaster. The Classic Vibe series represents a great value at $449. I'll tell you everything you need to know about this guitar. We'll put it on the bench and pull it apart, and of course we'll plug it in and play it. At the top, if you're in the market for this guitar or any other gear, click to buy that new gear using our link. Helps us make these demos. In the States, you get fast free shipping, easy payment plans. Makes buying new gear way too easy. Trust me. In Europe, you can check out our Toman link. All that is down below, pinned in the comments or in the description. Also, be in it to win it. Make sure you're subscribed. We are giving away an American-made Martin acoustic guitar when we hit 100,000 subscribers. To win that, subscribe now if you haven't, and sign up via Gleam. That's all down below too. Let's get to work on the 60s Custom Telecaster from the Squier Classic Vibe series. Super cool. Wait till you see the looks on this one. Man, how can you not love this? One of the better sunbursts I've seen. Not to mention the fact that you have this classic double bound body, which looks beautiful on the Custom Telecaster. 60s inspired. Just like Rosewood, you got the Indian Laurel board here. I think Indian Laurel feels great. I prefer it to Palo Ferro in the budget woods department of trying to look like Rosewood. Look at that nice dark piece. I think it looks great. You've got the nice Squier Spaghetti logo, classic Telecaster headstock, all vintage inspired. This one feels really, really light. We'll get a weight on it on the bench. So why don't we head to the bench and pull it apart before we plug it in. But you can click our link below. And remember, there's a baritone version of this available too, which is super cool. Let's get to work. All right, a great classic Telecaster headstock, Custom Telecaster next to the spaghetti letter Squier logo. You got a modern truss rod adjustable from the top of the headstock here. I don't think there's any bugs in there this time. You got these vintage style tuners, 6 on the side, of course. And look at the tint they do. This is a vintage tint gloss that they do on the maple neck. It's a smaller C-shaped neck. It's nice and slim, and these always feel great. Very playable profile. This piece of Indian Laurel, I think, looks especially good. It would fool you into thinking it was rosewood for sure. Coming down to the body, hallmark of the Custom Telecaster is this double bound body, which I've always just loved. And then you've got this classic 3-saddle design and the Telecaster ashtray bridge, which is great. Fender designed these excellent alnico single coil pickups for both their Strats and Teles, and we've been really impressed with the sound of these pickups. They sound fantastic. And then other than that, you got the classic 3-way Tele toggle, middle position, one of my favorite sounds. Can only do it on a Tele. And I'll tell you what, volume, tones, simple, no nonsense. I love the Classic Vibe series for that reason. And check out the wood grain on this. I think something about this sunburst is one of the better sunbursts I've seen in a while, period. I just love the looks of this. Beautiful wood grain coming through too. Let's get the strings out of the way and get some measurements. 4-screw pattern plate, Squier on the back. We'll flip this around and pop this neck out. Get a glimpse of the raw NATO body. That's, I guess, a budget wood. And taking a look at the neck profile here, you do have a modern radius of 9.5 inches, which makes it a little bit more playable to a modern player. And I'll tell you what, let's get some measurements on the neck. I love this neck profile. Let's see where it measures in. 1.65 inches at the nut, 0.81 inches at the first, up to 0.85 at the 12th. Body thickness comes in at 1.78 inches, and call me crazy, I actually prefer Tele bodies without the comfort cut or the belly cut, and I just really like how it's kind of a fulcrum for your arm to just sit on at that one point, and for me that's just actually more comfortable, so maybe it's just me. 5 screws on the 3-ply pickguard. I'll go ahead and flip this up, and you can see you got this alnico Fender-Designed single coil pickup here. Everything's hand wired. Also check this out, if you want to put a humbucker in the body in neck position, it's already routed for a humbucker, so great for mods as well. 3-way Tele switch, volume and tone. Flipping that up, you can see we're hand wired, and you got these little mini import pots in here as well. Flipping on the multimeter, we'll get a reading on the pickups. We are at 6.9 in bridge, 3.5 in middle, 7.2 in neck. So a little hotter reading actually. Let's talk setup. A common theme with the Classic Vibes, they come out of the box, in my opinion, with like the strings a mile high. And so far all of them have needed a truss rod tightening too. Now a lot of that's seasonal, it depends on your climate, where you're at. Just remember with electric guitars, they're adjustable. You're not gonna hurt it. If you learn how to do this, it's really worth your while. I'm gonna go ahead and start with tightening the truss rod, probably about a 1/4 to 1/2 turn. And I like a medium action. I can already tell these strings are way high, so I'm just gonna do this by sight and drop these saddles, maybe 2 turns each. And to me, the worst that happens is you lower it too much and then you raise it back up a little bit, but I'd rather do it by feel because you are the best judge of how you want the guitar to feel. So I tighten the truss rod a little bit. I got just a little bit of relief that I can hear when I kind of tap here. And I'll go ahead and bend. Now, all those of you who love really low action would be very proud of me because this is actually set up with like ridiculously low action right now. For me, it's actually a little bit too low, even though there's no issues and nothing's choking out, everything's ringing clean. I'm just gonna actually raise my saddles up a little bit and then this is good to go. I've got my action, everything, relief, perfect. The one thing I'll tell you is because these ship sometimes with the strings so high, you gotta watch your pickup height because now my neck pickup, I'm just looking at it, it's pretty close to the strings. So now that I raised my strings down, I'm just gonna lower this just a hair because I don't need that neck pickup to be that aggressive, and then it's gonna be a lot louder than the bridge pickup too. Feels pretty light, let's get a weight. Wow, 6 pounds, 14 ounces, we'll call it 6.9 pounds. Super light. All right, and flipping the guitar around, I'll tell you the difference a well set up guitar makes, and when I say well set up, I mean to your liking. I've been showing you as we work through the Classic Vibe series what I've been doing to set these up, because a lot of the time I haven't had any quality control in terms of sharp frets or anything like that, but I have had issues just with the strings being too high, the relief needs adjustment. So if you can learn those little tweaks, I just want to show you that it's not hard. It's also not rocket science. If you go too far with something, you can go back the other way. These guitars are made to be adjustable. Totally worth it. Good sounding guitar unplugged. This is my favorite part. We'll plug it in. Remember, if you're in the market for this guitar or any guitar gear, anything, click to buy it using our link. We really appreciate that. We're gonna plug this in. I'll show you clean tones. We'll dirty it up and we'll let it sing behind the track. Stick with me because on the other side of playing, I'll give you my honest reaction to playing this guitar along with a final score. So let's plug in and get to work. See that? Oh, it just collapses. Under tension, I can't raise it anymore. It just collapses. See, that's the problem with Squiers, though. It's these shitty parts that, you know, one little thing like that. All right, that's, I think, as far as it'll go up. stuck with me to the end, so I'm gonna give you my honest reaction to playing the Custom Telecaster, the 60s Custom Telecaster in the Classic Vibe collection. I have been really impressed with the Classic Vibe collection. This one looks so good, I wanted to love it. I'm gonna tell you the truth, I did not love it. It had a few things that kind of fell on its face. I wanted to like it more, but here's really my reaction. I based my score on three main things: overall playability, overall sound, and overall value. When it came to playability, I did have a problem from the factory, which I know what's causing the problem. My fear is that people that are maybe novice or starting out, they're not gonna know what's causing this. The problem was when you saw me set the guitar up, I got it exactly where I wanted. The issue is some of these junky parts sometimes are stripped out or don't work right. The saddle on the D string is actually collapsing because the little screw that it sits on is stripped out. And the issue there is no matter what you do, it's never gonna sit right. And so I found that frustrating because after you diagnose everything else, you're gonna find out that's the problem. And it's just a pain. And that's part of what you deal with when you deal with guitars that are budget level guitars. They're making them quickly. Quality control can be hit or miss, I will admit that. So I think on overall playability, I did like the neck shape. I love this piece of Indian Laurel. It did have kind of this toyish feel to it. And we've played a lot of Squiers. I've been very impressed by them. This one sadly is maybe the first that I've played that had a little bit of a more toyish feel to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it, a 7.0 on overall playability. I did not find this to be the most playable guitar, even after setting it up, sadly. Overall sound. This is gonna be its highest score because I do like these pickups. These alnico Fender-Designed pickups are always a standout, and I got nothing to gripe when it comes to the sound. I also think it's a nice mod platform. It's already routed for a humbucker. If you wanna go crazy and put a humbucker in neck, you can go crazy. But stock from the factory, these pickups are great. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 9.2 on overall sound. It's just the sound alone. And then value. I mean, let's face it, looks I'll lump in with value. It's got looks to die for. It's got a beautiful body, sunburst, everything that they did, attention to detail is fantastic. At $449, it's hard to beat the price, right? It does need some setup out of the box. It did have a fatal flaw with this stripped out. I can't tell if the screw or the saddle hole is actually stripped out, but in any case, under tension, the saddle collapses, so that's a big problem. So you'd have to send this one back or get that replaced or whatever. And it's just a hassle at this price point because you got to risk that they're using cheaper parts and something's going to go wrong. And in this case, it did. And now that Zach and I have spent some time with, oh gosh, a handful of Classic Vibes the past couple weeks, most of them were fine. And a couple of them had issues that they'd have to go back. And so I think it's gonna be a toss-up in terms of quality control to tell you when it's really good, it's good, but you gotta seek that out. You gotta send it back until you get one that's perfect and then go with that. And they are out there. It's just you gotta weed through the duds, unfortunately. Overall value, I'll go ahead and give it, because of the price, because of what it does when it does it well, I will give it a 9.0 on overall value. That brings us to a final score of 8.4 for the Custom Telecaster. It's got the looks, it's got the sound, it just had some feel issues, I think, and it had some execution problems in terms of quality control, especially with that strip saddle. We'll try another one. We'll always be honest with you and upfront when we review these guitars. Check out our demos across the channel for Play and Trade Guitars. I'm John, that's Zach behind the camera. Remember, if you're in the market for any of these guitars, click to buy using our link and be in it to win it with our Martin guitar giveaway when we hit 100,000. Subscribe and sign up via Gleam. See you guys on the next video. Thanks for hanging out.